What's up, Able audience? I'm back again. Today I'm in Kodak, Tennessee at Seven Island State Birding Park. It's really windy and I forgot my gimbal and other mic, so I hope this is coming out well and you guys can hear it. But today I'm also going to be implementing a review of this Never Lost backpack, which is discontinued, by the way. You might be able to find one on eBay or something, but I want to take this moment to tag Outdoor Gear Revival in Knoxville, Tennessee. If you're looking for some niche outdoor gear that is lightly used and at a decent price, I highly recommend you check out Outdoor Gear Revival, nestled off Kingston Pike in Knoxville, Tennessee. Got my orange sticks ready to go, so I don't know what we're going to see. Maybe a bunch of birds, but I'm looking forward to check it out. If you don't know what this is, my name's William, and this is Able Orange. Let's go. Hello, and welcome back to Able Orange. This is Seven Islands State Birding Park, located in Kodak, Tennessee. Nestled along the French Broad River, this 416-acre wildlife haven is an absolute paradise for bird lovers, nature enthusiasts, and, well, people like me who just need to touch some grass and get out of the house. But in all seriousness, spending time outdoors isn't just good for the soul, quote unquote. It's scientifically proven to help your mental health. More on that later. First, let's dive into the park's fascinating history, its wild residents, and why I decided to push my muscular dystrophy riddled legs to the limit, just to take you guys on this fantastic journey. So, Kodak, Tennessee, no, not like the camera company, although that would be kind of cool. This little town sits just outside Sevierville and Knoxville, serving as a quiet gateway to the Great Smoky Mountains. But what really puts it on the map? Seven Island State Birding Park. Originally farmland, this land was transformed into a wildlife sanctuary in 2013, becoming Tennessee's first and only state park dedicated specifically to bird conservation. Basically, if you've ever wanted to feel like Snow White with birds landing on your shoulders, this is the place to be. And before you ask, no, I have not tried to sing to the birds yet. I haven't even seen them. They'd probably just fly away anyway. So it looks like there's multiple trails to choose from, but in order to stay on brand with Able Orange, we're going to be taking the Bob White 88 trail. So we're about here-ish, and it looks like if I go straight and follow this, it's going to go around, go over a bridge, and end up at this island. So it looks like I'm going that way. One thing I really want to point out is when you first start on this trail, you get these beautiful mountains in the background. And yes, I'm pointing with my crutch, but just looking at it, it's so open and spacious, unlike some of the city parks that I've been to so far. I'm looking forward to what's up ahead. As I make my way down this initial slope of the Bob White 88 trail, something interesting starts happening. As I get closer to the bottom, the louder the chorus of frogs become. So far, no birds, but if you can hear that, if the wind doesn't mess it up, the sound of frogs is definitely intensifying. So it must be getting close to some sort of swampy wetlands or something. I know there's a body of water up here, just a little ways when we cross over, I think, a bridge. But let's see what's up here. So, I was correct. There is some sort of wetland down over here, a little creek that's running through. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's really much easier when I have the gimbal with me. But yeah, and of course, as soon as I hit record, the sound gets quieter, but the frogs are definitely still going down this way. There's a lot of little branch trails off this way, so if some of you are a little bit more capable and want to go off the ADA path, there's many options along the way. As I walk along this straightaway, you may notice the sound of frogs getting louder. It's almost as if the more I head this direction, the louder they scream. I don't know what they're discussing, but based on the increasing volume, I'm assuming it's either a territorial dispute or a very heated debate about where the best bugs are right now. But seriously, this uptick in sound isn't just random. It actually makes a lot of sense. Wetlands, like the ones around the French Broad River here, are biodiversity powerhouses. They provide the perfect environment for amphibians like frogs and toads because the moist conditions help keep their skin hydrated, which is essential since they actually absorb oxygen through their skin. Yep, frogs don't just breathe with their lungs, they do it through their skin too. Bet you didn't know that. Okay, maybe you did. It's like nature's version of a high-efficiency air filter. I hope you guys at home can hear that. The frogging is definitely intensifying. That tells me there must be an even bigger wetland up here, in somewhat close proximity to the water. Oh, I was right. Well, I honestly can't blame them for getting excited. It's the perfect setup for them. Shallow water, plenty of insects buzzing around for dinner, and no YouTube algorithm to worry about. I'd be chirping all day too if my life was that stress-free. I hope you can hear me over the frogs, but I just wanted to point out that there's another split. There's the sign. The Bob White ADA trail goes a little bit of off-road, kind of in that plains area that I was pointing to earlier. Or, if you have the ability and strength to do so, it's probably not the best word, forgive me. Or, you can keep going on the paved path, especially great if you're in a powered wheelchair or in a wheelchair and have a friend to push you, or you just want to get that upper body strength and get swole. That's totally up to you. But I want to get on this bridge and see what we can see from there. Buckle up, because we're about to take the high ground once more. Here we have the Linda and Pete Clausen Bridge. Dedicated in 2020, this bridge gracefully spans the French Broad River, connecting us to Newman's Island. Not to be confused with Newman's Own, that's salad dressing. It's named in honor of the Clausens, who were instrumental in the development of the Seven Islands State Birding Park. You know, without this bridge, I'd either need a boat or some impressive swimming skills to reach the island. Fun fact, I can actually swim quite well, despite the muscular dystrophy. Thankfully though, the Clausens spared me the trouble. It's amazing how a simple structure can open up so many opportunities for exploration and connection with nature. Kudos to the Clausens for making this possible. Alright, full disclosure though, I do not like heights. I know it's not like this bridge is that high comparatively, but tell that to my stomach when I was making these shots, which at this point was currently in the process of trying to relocate itself somewhere near my knees. Now let's talk about the real stars of this park, the wildlife. Over 190 species of birds call this park home. From bald eagles to great blue herons to those little warblers that are basically the ADHD kids of the bird world, constantly flitting around and never sitting still. How I relate to them so deeply. Now, at this point, you're probably expecting me to roll some amazing footage of birds soaring majestically through the sky, maybe a deer gracefully stepping through the grass, or a butterfly landing right on my hand like I'm in a Disney movie. Yeah, spoilers, that did not happen. Like, at all. For whatever reason, whenever I was walking through this park with a GoPro strapped to my chest, all signs of wildlife, save the hidden frogs, immediately vanish. Gone. Poof. Not a single feather in sight. There was a bird in the distance as I was shooting this shot, but it seemed to disappear as soon as I cranked my head around. Anyway, the Bob White ADA trail ends here at this bike rack. Like you just heard in the narration, the Bob White ADA trail ends right here at this bike rack. It says no bicycles beyond this point, and it splits off into a trail there and a little trail behind me here. So we're gonna do a little off-roading and see what this island has to offer. As I make my way down this trail, please enjoy this scenic shot of some empty trees where birds were 5 seconds ago. And here's some beautiful untouched grass where a rabbit might have been. And in the distance, look, a log, which I'm pretty sure had a turtle on it earlier. But at this point, you're just going to have to take my word for it. But trust me, the wildlife is here. You just have to be sneakier than me to actually see it. This park's habitat variety is why so many species thrive here. Open grasslands attract eastern bluebirds and American kestrels, while the riparian zones, those areas along the riverbanks, are prime real estate for herons, ospreys, and even the occasional river otter. And let's not forget about the pollinators. This park is a haven for butterflies, bees, and yes, wasps. Now, before you panic, most of them are just here to do their job. The park actually has a strong population of native bee species, which are critical for maintaining the ecosystem. So next time you see a bee buzzing by, just remember, it's out working harder than most of us on a Monday morning. Coming up is a clip that I cut the audio to because the wind was too bad. You might have noticed the water levels around here don't always stay the same. That's because in East Tennessee, the Tennessee Valley Authority, or TVA, plays a huge role in controlling the water flow. The TVA was created in the 1930s as part of the New Deal to manage flood control, hydroelectric power, and navigation. Basically, they operate a series of dams along the Tennessee River system, which includes the French Broad River. When they release water from the dams upstream, boom, water levels rise. When they hold it back, water levels drop. This helps prevent flooding during heavy rains, keeps power plants running, and even makes sure boats and barges can travel safely downstream. So if the river looks a little lower than the last time you were here or in this area, don't panic. It's just TVA doing their job. It could just be my autism, but stuff like this is fascinating, especially with recent events that's happened over here in the southeastern United States. But if you look over here, it just shows the power of water. As you can see, the bank here has been eroded over the course of years by just the natural flow of the stream, but it's caused these trees here to fall over. And with the falling over of these trees, they've obviously trapped a bunch of other debris and trees floating downstream, so they all just kind of get trapped here. You can see a little bit of trash and stuff trapped in there, but that just a good demonstration of just the sheer might of water especially when it comes to erosion. Like the ground that I'm standing on, it's a little soft, like there's holes, so should somebody like me be standing in an area like this? Probably not, but it's just fascinating. Alright, so I mentioned this earlier in the intro, but let's really dig into it. Being outdoors is basically a cheat code for your mental health. You ever step outside after being cooped up all day, take a deep breath, and instantly feel better for some reason? That's not just in your head. Well, it is in your head, but it's also backed by science. Studies show that spending just 120 minutes in nature per week, that's 2 hours total, not even per day, can significantly lower stress, anxiety, and even symptoms of depression. In fact, research from Stanford University found that walking in a natural environment reduces activity in the part of your brain linked to negative thinking. Basically, nature tells your brain to calm down, and honestly, I think we all need a reminder sometimes. On a more personal note, speaking of mental health, I thought I was an introvert. Quiet, kept to myself, didn't really quote unquote fit in growing up because I was, different. No, not because I'm Filipino. Okay, partially because I'm Filipino. But turns out I'm actually a massive extrovert who just happens to be on the spectrum. The autism spectrum, to be exact. Who knew? It took me years to figure out that I thrive in social settings, even if part of it is masking. My brain sometimes gets overstimulated and needs a break. Funny how that works, right? But overstimulation is still something I deal with, and honestly, doing this show, being on camera, walking around like a maniac with a GoPro strapped on his chest talking to himself, and putting myself out there, it's not easy. If you go back and watch the very first episode of Camo Coffee Critic, you'll see someone who was nervous and unsure of themselves. If you watch the intro to this video, you'll see the exact same thing. For real though, it's just my ADHD brain rambling way too much, doing somersaults, just trying to keep up. And thanks to social media, I realized that I'm not alone in this, that there's quite a lot of you. Well, perhaps not you directly, the viewer, because I know a lot of the people that watch this show, but I don't know a majority of you that watch my videos. See? There we go. Case and point. Alright, so we've made it back to the bike rack, and this is where we started on the island, because if I turn the camera around, the bridge is still over here in the background, so we have to go all the way back. So at least from what my body's telling me, it's definitely longer than where I was hiking at High Ground Park. That was used to be Fort Hiley. If you haven't seen that video where I talk about autism, ADHD, and mental health, go ahead and check that video out. I just want to take this moment to say, if you want to see more content like this, don't forget to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to follow me on my different adventures. So I might have to stop on the way and switch batteries at this point. The winds come and go, so let's see how we do making it back to the car. It was at this point that I had to backtrack to that table that we just passed. My GoPro is dying, so I've got to switch out the battery. So I keep all my stuff in here so far. The Never Lost backpack is doing good, like super bright. It's even more orange than it shows in the video, but that's what I like, if you can already tell by my shirt. but we'll switch out the batteries and then we'll make our way back to the car. All right, now that our batteries swapped out, we're back at 100%, so let's make our way back to the car. One thing I will say in terms of accessibility, I've kneeled here on the, I think it's about the middle of the bridge. It's pretty close because there's the viewing area over here. But one thing I will say as a word of caution for accessibility, now if you're in a wheelchair that has fairly large wheels, you can just kind of pop your front wheels over it. If you have a walker or if you have crutches like I do, it's stuff like this. See how it's kind of rotted away here, and I didn't catch that on the way up through. So if you've got crutches or if you've got a walker with fairly small thin wheels, there's a few loose boards. So that is one thing I will mention, besides obviously the kind of off the trail portion of this trail to look out for, especially if you take the ADA portion of the trail. So just something to look out for. Now here is a daily struggle that I deal with almost every day, especially after a fall. I can't simply stand up like an able-bodied person. I lack the muscles in my legs to simply flex and raise myself. I have to brace my body against something firm and slowly pull myself up with my arms. As shown in the video here, I have a wide stance for more balance. It's more complicated than it should be. And just for context, I didn't fall over that. That's just something I just want to point out as far as being an advocacy vlogger. So that's just things to look out for if you come to this park and go across the bridge. Just a helpful reminder. So this is the part of the video where I highly stress, know your limitations. Kind of like when I was hiking High Ground Park. I know I've said it a lot in this video, but this is a lot farther than I anticipated. It's a nice, easy paved trail for the most part, except for that part where I got on the island, and that's great. But don't be afraid to take breaks. Know when to push yourself and know when to hold back. And that's the best advice that I could possibly give you for getting out. I've already fallen a couple times, but again, I don't run my GoPro continuously for these videos. But nothing bad, haven't hurt myself. But I'm definitely starting to feel a lot of weakness, especially in my right leg. It's getting a little tingly. So that's why I'm giving it a little break to rest before I make my way back.
Leave it to Able Orange to encounter yet another heartwarming photography session.
And now, the final push back to the parking lot. And just like in the last video, definitely the uphill portions, especially after going a long distance, it does a number on my legs. I'm definitely starting to feel that tingly feeling, but I haven't fallen nearly as much as I anticipated. I mean, I've had maybe 3 or 4, but to me, for my muscular ability, that's not bad at all. But pushing myself like this, it's not necessarily that I deal with pain so much, but I can definitely feel it in my legs that I'm getting numb, and I'm starting to rely on the residual strength in my shoulders. I really hope that's coming through, so because the wind's really starting to pick up here. So let's get this final push back to the parking lot.
Alright, like I just said, I've made it this far. Now comes the real challenge. The trail here at Seven Islands State Birding Park, the Bob White ADA trail, is pretty accessible. At least at the start. The main paths are well maintained and most of the terrain is fairly even. But, and this is a big but, please don't take that out of context, when you have muscular dystrophy, even a gentle incline can feel like climbing a small mountain. And this, final push to the parking lot, it's definitely hitting all my weak spots. You see, with limb-girdle muscular dystrophy, my legs don't have the same endurance as most people's. My quadriceps and hip flexors are already running on fumes, and at this point they're basically throwing in the towel. I'm getting that familiar tingling, almost burning weakness in my legs and hips, not because I'm out of shape, but because my muscles just can't replenish their energy the way they should. It's like trying to finish a long road trip with the gas tank running on just vapors. So since my legs are done contributing to society, it's all my upper body now. My deltoids and biceps are working overtime, helping me push through with my trekking poles, or my forearm crutches in this case. Fun fact, those muscle groups are still relatively strong for me because muscular dystrophy tends to affect the core and lower limbs at first. So, while my legs are metaphorically clocking out for the day, my arms are like, what are you doing? Alright, whatever, we got this. Send it. Alright, so we made it back to the map, and solid 9 out of 10. It's mostly paved. Just keep in mind some of the advice that I gave along the way. Let's make the final push back through this barn. Oh my gosh, this thing just fell. That big canister thing. So that was Seven Islands State Birding Park, located in Kodak, Tennessee. I'm out of breath and my arms are definitely sore. As you saw, very accessible. The Bob White ADA trail is excellent, and I think it's an excellent addition to this lovely scenery. If you're more able-bodied or feeling more adventurous, feel free to take some of the other trails, but do take the right precautions, and it's not wrong to take breaks every now and again, because you saw I took plenty. If you guys want to see more content like this, don't forget to leave a like, comment down below, hit that bell to get notified when I post more content, and don't forget to subscribe. Help this channel grow, because I'm just getting started. This is episode 3 or 4, I think, of Able Orange. So yeah, I'm just getting started. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. As always, my name's William, and this has been Able Orange. Bye-bye.